Today, we have amongst us the youngest international directors.
He is from Dubai. UAE, and is the CEO of Optimus Management Consultant and a lecturer at the University of West London, with over 18 years of experience in consulting and academia. He holds a master's degree in human resource management from the University of Manchester and is pursuing a doctorate in strategic management from XLRI, India. He is a managing trustee of Prerna, the largest disability advocacy group for the Indian diaspora in the Middle East, and was a consultative committee member of the People of Determination Law for Dubai, recognized with the Zaid Inspira Award for his contribution to disability rehabilitation. Sujit has been a Toastmaster since 2006 and is a distinguished Toastmaster. As a member of Toastmasters International Board of Directors, he serves as a working ambassador, helping shape the organization's policy and mission.
Please put your hands together and welcome on stage the International Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Sujit Sukumaran. Please put your hands together and help me welcome Distinguished Toastmaster, Rajesh Daga. Today, on stage, we are going to hear from Distinguished Toastmaster Sujit about his role, his experiences, and his vision on Toastmaster in a chat with Distinguished Toastmaster Rajesh Daga.
Let us now sit back and listen in attention. I'm sure you too will have a few questions for International Director Sujit. Please note them down mentally, and we will have a question and answer session as the part of this conversation. Over to you, Distinguished Toastmaster Rajesh.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. Just to tell you a little bit of insight and story is that I know Sujit for many, many, many years. He became Toastmasters in 2006, but I know him from 2009, which was the first time that I saw him in a DTAC, district conference, where he was participating in the table topics. And mind you, he won that table topics. He flowed. Today, I have those faint memories of 2009 to now, very, very fresh. And I'm so happy to welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Sujit Sukumaran to District Crescendo 125 for this fireside chat. Thank you, Sujit.
Thank you, thank you.
The first question that I want to ask him is, he started not as a Toastmaster. 20 years ago, he's 39, imagine. 20 years ago, he started as a Gavelier back in Dubai. When I want to ask Sujit, what prompted him to become a Gavelier, considering his starting point, the way he began, what were the challenges that he faced? I want to hear from his side. Sujit.
Okay, so my initiation into Toastmasters was by being a Gavelier. And the way I got into my first Gavel club was, we had a teacher of mine, an English teacher, who was starting a Gavel club in our school as part of a high-performance leadership project. Back then, we didn't even know what Toastmasters was. We had no idea what we would do, but it was a good excuse to bunk class, and we said, okay, fine, let's try it. Okay, that happened, and I became the first president of the Toastmasters Club, then figured out, okay, this is what a meeting is, this is what the functionaries are like. That went on. After I got into 12th, you know how it is, parents like grades more than DTMs, so they said, focus on your studies, get out of Toastmasters, we'll see later on. Went to India, finished my bachelor's, then I came back. And then my math teacher, and I was not a very wonderful student at math, no shame in admitting it on stage, but I wasn't a very wonderful student in math, and two people you never say no to are your English teacher and maths teacher, because those are the two subjects which can trouble you if you're really not good at them. So she said, listen, I'm joining a club, it's called TGIS, it's an all-ladies club as of now, we don't allow men or boys inside. So I'm like, okay, this is an interesting place. And there's something called Toastmasters over there. Would you want to come? And I remember, okay, this is the same as Gavel. I said, okay, added incentive, Toastmasters 1. and all ladies club too, so that's also very nice. You go and see. And as usual, they put me on a table topic, and I think this is a proven strategy worldwide. Even if you speak hopelessly, they will still make you win. So that the next thing is you will see a friendly VP membership come with a form and say, hello. So I couldn't take immediate membership there, but they were so kind that they changed the bylaws of the club, and I was the first man in a group of women.
Oh, wow.
So that is history in itself. Of course, I believe because of that, Rajesh, today as a leader, I have a lot of feminine empathy with masculine leadership. I think a lot of mothers and sisters, that kind of vibe came into me because I started from there. So I'm able to see it from both sides. I'm not saying I'm non-binary or binary, I'm not going into that, but I'm just saying I got the best of both worlds.
Excellent. But Sujit, you started as a Cavalier, joined as a Toastmaster way back, and today you are an international director. Very, very few people, and that is quite a high position. Did you had this in mind कि मुझे तो ये पहुंचना है यहाँ तक? What was that mindset at that time when you became from Cavalier to Toastmaster and then further up journey?
See, I think in the whole of 20 years, the first 10 years, it was all I, me, and myself. Technically, winning contests, wanting to come first in every division, district level, so and so forth.
And you did that.
Yeah,
you have podium finish in all the 4 contests that we have during his journey. Every single.
And after that, what happens? You've been there, done that. Then there's a question mark. There's a big void. Okay, whatever you wanted to do and achieve, you achieved. There's a thrill, no doubt. All of you who are going to compete here today, I like to say that the fastest way to the greatest improvement is to compete. And the first thing that you've volunteered is a great thing. You've showed up, you've stood up, and you've spoken up. That's an amazing thing. After you win, that's a thrill in itself. But beyond that, what I've felt is a very exhilarating, unending thrill is when you're able to take that same chemistry, the same mix, and make many other people also win. Now that you can only do in leadership. And to me, I don't think I ever envisaged that I will become an ID or, even be a region advisor or anything like that. For the first time, the only incentive was back in the days and even now to become a DTM, you needed to become minimum an area director.
Correct.
And those days I was young. I'm still young, but I was younger.
You are.
So I had finished my entire, DTM project journey somewhere around 22, 23.
Oh.
And the average age of my district at that time, a lot of members from there are here also, even you would know, is 40, 45 plus. So everyone was like, to be in leadership, there was a wrong notion given to us that to be in leadership, you need white hair, you need glasses, you need something else. Biologically, I can't do anything. So, and that is changing. Now in a VUCA agile world, leadership can come, I'm learning things from my 6-year-old daughter. And now kids are shameless and fearless, so they will teach you immediately whether you like it or not. So I was under the impression that you need white hair or no hair, then only you can become a leader and all that, and wasting a lot of time. Then I even tried multiple numbers of times. Imagine, many of you may have stood for elections, a lot of politics, some of you would have felt like quitting. Can you guess how many times I stood to become an area director? I stood 7 times, losing year after year, sometimes multiple times the same year. Generally, I'm a very strong person, but the 7th time when I lost, I came home and I was like, yaar, bas ho gaya, I'm quitting Toastmasters. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And my mother, who is not a Toastmaster still, she doesn't know much about Toastmasters. She came to me and she understood this is something important to me in my life. She's like, what happened? Why are you sad? So I said, see, there is this thing called area director. That is the last thing stopping me from becoming a DTM. For some reason, people are not allowing me. I'm losing by 1 vote, 2 votes and all. See, losing by big margin is still okay. There's some dignity in that. Losing by 1 vote and 2 votes, this is like you almost passed, but operation success, patient dead, kya fayda? So I came back home and I was like, I'm done. So Mummy said, okay, see, I don't know much about Toastmasters, but what I want you to do is take a break for 1 year, focus on making friends and helping other people, and being a smiling guy and more of a smiling guy and less of a smart guy. Because nobody likes the intelligent person in the room. Because there's always somebody smarter than you. But people will never forget how you made them feel. So, be the nice guy and the insignificant guy. Focus on relationships and the votes will come. Think about the members and the numbers will come. So I spent that 1 year, even though you don't like listening to your mother often, but it's like, anyway, my formula is not working, let me try hers and see. And in the 8th time, I won with a huge margin. And since then there's been no looking back in terms of progression, but the failures continued. Like after area director, division director was smooth. For Lieutenant Governor Education and Training, what was today PQD, that was also smooth. DED, I had just one opposition, but that was a huge baptism by fire because the entire election got nullified by Toastmasters because there was a lot of election vote rigging and all those things. So we were trios for 25 days, and then we get a mail from TI that your whole cabinet is dissolved. Again, election is held. So we had started work, and then my whole cabinet got dissolved. Out of that dissolved cabinet, only 5 people survived and made it to the new one. So there was a lot of challenge. And then for region advisor, again, I tried twice, still the same thing happened. Life has a way of reminding you when you get a bit too egoistic, like, okay, get down.
I swear,
Then took 1 more year's gap, reinvented myself, became an RA. Then ID, as you all might have seen on the
there's another
screen.
story that I want you to share that in detail.
We'll come to that. So there I lost, and again I won. So see, leadership is not a linear journey. Every time you lose, always understand one thing. A setback is a solid stage for a comeback if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But if you don't learn anything from the loss, that is the big problem. So I never envisaged I will become an ID or whatever, RA or whatever. Mummy always says something very interesting. Sometimes very ordinary people reach their destination just by taking the right ticket on the right bus and sitting tight on the seat.
Staying
so
in the journey.
I think a lot of that is because of sitting in the right seat and taking the right bus and having a lot of people praying for me around the world. I believe that is something which is the hidden secret sauce, because you can go fast alone, but you can only go far with the support and blessings of a lot of people. So that's what I feel.
Absolutely fantastic, Sujit. You flowed. You talked about your mother, and this reminds me to the 2009 table topic contest that you were having. And after winning that, you have given a speech talking about your mother. And I still remember that. I want you to say what was that your mother was able to inspire you to this extent throughout this journey, not only reaching to the district level, but also international. What was the role that she played and how you were motivated time and again from her presence in your life?
See, my mother is a very interesting person, and I'll tell you why. Now, if I go to my mother and tell her, I love you, there are only 2 responses that you will get. One is, what do you want? Or, is everything okay? Are you in trouble? Are you going to go to jail or something like that? So this is the standard response in my life. With my mother, now also replicated with my wife and also with my daughter. So I have 3 ladies in my house, you know how my life is. But something about mummy, she's been a single mother. My father passed away 25 years ago when I was 15, just on the cusp of getting into 10th grade. And since then, she's been managing with me and my sister as a single breadwinner. And we have never known her to be weak in any way. If she was, she didn't show it. And her standard response was, if you are getting beaten in a game, try harder, work harder. If still the game and the field is unfair to you, change the game or change the field. It's not your fault. So, but never give up, never back down. At one point of time, even if you take a small spoon and keep knocking a door, it will get enough force that it will become an axe.
Wow.
Persistence trumps over anything at all time. So she's always had that fighter spirit. At 39, I still get whacked, and I have no shame in admitting that. And I think that is the reason why I've reached so far.
Exactly.
Because there's no shame getting slapped by your mom or whacked by your mom, and always, giving her a hug at all times whenever you can, because as they grow older, you also realize how less time you have with them going forward.
Absolutely.
And that's something younger people can only realize after they've probably lost a parent. So that's what it is. And it's not only about parents. Like a couple of days ago, we lost a very dear Toastmaster in my district. She passed away at 75. And why I say this, Rajesh, not to make everyone sad on a joyous occasion of Crescendo, but for me it's 20 years from the age of, say, 19, 20 to 39. But for many people who joined with me who were 45, 55, for them that 20 years suddenly becomes 60 and 75. So a lot of the people I grew up with, most of them are retired, getting older, or they are dead.
Yeah.
And that is not good. That is, for me, in a way, half of my family is gone. I don't have the people who mentored me and who I grew up with and who I learned leadership lessons from. Granted, we need new blood, but when you're somewhere in the middle, when you're not too old, when you're not too young, and the people older to you have then passed on, that's when you realize how much you have missed from what you've gained in Toastmasters.
So beautifully said, Sujit. Thank you. Thank you for this wise, timeless wisdom that we should always remind ourselves of. Thank you so much. Sujit mentioned about multiple trials as area director, as division director. He has tried and failed in the election as international director the year before. Very few people would come back and stand up again next year. And Sujit, I want you to share that story of that failure and again that exhilaration of victory of these two as an international director to show us that grit, that determination, that faith that you have in yourself, Sujit.
See, one thing, Rajesh, whenever you come into leadership, you must understand that it's not about you. The moment you place the position and the badge above anything else, you will never win. You have to understand, Mummy says a very interesting quote, I was sharing it with a few people today morning, that if you want to be an exemplary leader, be like the sugar in the milk. When you stir sugar into the milk, you cannot see the sugar, it disappears into the colloidal mix. But what does it do? It makes the milk sweeter and brighter and stand out. As a leader, your job is that. If they don't remember your name, but they remember your face and say, this guy was the guy because of which I got motivated to stand in a contest and win. You're the person because of whom I'm a leader today. Sometimes it can be the smallest things. I remember once I've, knelt down and tied a Toastmaster's shoelaces. So they're like, I know you had such a difficulty bending down, but you still did it for me. I recognize leadership like that. I am not a person like that naturally. I was very short-tempered. I had an ego because of the fact that I have a disability and I've achieved by fighting and coming forth. So sometimes it's misunderstood as arrogance. Think of it as more of the boiling blood of the younger age. Now I am married, so I know what is life and what is better. But having said that, if you can be like that sugar, that you are there in the milk, without you, the milk won't be the same, but with you, you won't be recognized. It's the milk that gets recognized. So think of the milk as your members and the sugar as the leader. So that's the first lesson. The second thing in terms of grit and bounce back and all, okay, now I have won. It's nice to talk about it, but what I'd like to share is how difficult the flight back from the Bahamas was, because when you're going home as a loser, it's a 16-hour flight. And nobody who is sitting in and around you understands, because first of all, to be a Toastmaster, you have to be a special kind of crazy. Your wife doesn't understand, your mother doesn't understand why you're having interviews late in the night with all these trio members. What do you get by it? It's not a paid vocation. You're neglecting your business, you're neglecting your job, you're neglecting your wife, children. My wife was like, you are now married to the laptop for last 1.5 years. You are not looking at me also. So with all these things, finally, I went there. And the first time, the mistake I made was, I'll tell you 3 things. And I want to tell this openly because tomorrow some of you might come in the international level, and that may be useful for you guys. The first time when I ran, my focus was more about when I have my Zoom interviews, trios will ask me questions. How do I come across as the most intelligent guy having answers to their questions? So I was trying to be the fire hose to the fire, where there was no fire. I was myself manufacturing it. I was myself watering the fire also.
That's a good one.
Okay, so don't be the smarty pants. The second time around, what did I do? Even if the trios in front of me were making some errors, I was like, okay, don't be a grammar Nazi. Suppress, breathe, smile, and be very grandfatherly. Okay, juk juk jio beta. Go ahead. Don't criticize, don't condemn, don't complain. Try to not compete, but complete the other person.
Wow.
That makes a huge difference.
Not compete. Very nice. Excellent, Sujit.
So the second lesson I learned was never see your opponent or the other person in the election as an adversary. Beauty for me the first time was Frank Suro, who's now also on the board with me. He was my co-runner in the election. I won't even call him an opponent because we have worked together as regional advisors and we have a very brotherly connection. So it's sort of like, suppose Rajesh, tomorrow you're along with me for the election of international director or something. How can I develop an adversary feeling towards you? Because we have known each other for such a long time. Frank also was very chilled out. He's not that kind of political guy. He minded his own business. He was looking after his own campaign. But my mistake was I was very obsessed about what he was doing the first time, rather than what I was doing. So I used to go look at his website, okay, kya chal raha hai, any updates, can I be better than that? More so that my intention was to be better than him, not to be a better version of myself. You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was very preoccupied, I just need to best him. But am I being the best me that I can be? That's the only thing I have in control, right? So I was so obsessed. Okay, then another mistake I made last year, I was so obsessed that, I will stand up and deliver my speech because I don't want people to think I'm weak. Okay, fine, I have cerebral palsy, but they are not hiring me on the board to play football. They are hiring me for my ideas and intellect. So I can still sit and give my message. So this time what I did, I can't walk long distances. Milan knows, Sushil knows, Colonel knows. I came with a scooter, okay? And the scooter has a beautiful thing because you are the only person with a scooter. So there is some hook onto that, okay? Why is he wearing a... Because I'm telling you, even the normal guys, after they walk 5 kilometers around the convention hall, they will also start wishing they had a scooter. Okay? Then the playing field gets very leveled. But more than that, I embraced who I was. I didn't want to be somebody else. And more than that, one important thing, especially if you have seen the speech last year, the 2-minute speech, the final one, in the last end of it, usually all candidates, they end with, vote for XYZ, or international director candidate for region X, and they end. For me, what I did, that was not my original speech had only that much. But what I did is, when I was taking bath in the morning, and sometimes that's why they say, pray, meditate, and then come. So after I took a bath, I do my pujas in the morning, did my prayers, then I got one inspiration. Okay, why don't you do something different? It's little cheeky, very risky. In fact, my campaign manager got very upset with me because of that, but it won the election. That's a different story. In Sanskrit, we call it Manodharma. Basically, when you do something, practice, inspiration will come to you at the last moment. Okay, aise improvise karo, kuch ho jayega.
Absolutely.
So I said, okay, first thing, I'll take a chair. I won't stand and deliver. Second thing, I will remove 2 lines from the initial speech. And at the end, what I will do now, I'm sitting on the stage and delivering the speech. At the end, what I will do is I will remove those 2 lines which were prior, so I'll get some minutes. And then I will replace it with, vote for Sujit Sukumaran, your international director for Region 8. And I promise you that I will stand up with you and stand for you no matter what difficulties come forward. And I was sitting on the chair, right? When I said I will stand up with you, I stood up. So there is a great symbolism in that the audience is realizing, okay, this is a guy who has difficulties and he is wanting to stand up. And when you say stand with you, there's a very powerful metaphor to that. Indian guys, I know, our guys are like, okay, you are Rama, you die on the stage also, we will not vote for you, that's a different thing. But with the American audience, with the Western audience, they were like, wow, this is something. Because the moment I finished doing that, immediately the crowd went crazy. And you know when you know,
Absolutely.
Right? When you're on the stage, the biofeedback is coming. And then I was like, okay, now it doesn't matter. I was estimating at least 2,000 to 2,500 votes extra. Because my last year's base was 8,000. I've done a better job this time, so 8,000 should still be there. Another 2,000 odd would be on the fence, deciding like, we like you, but you're a brown guy who really cares, like we don't know. Because I remember the first year when I stood, I was in the candidates corner, and many, Western Hemisphere trios were coming to me and they're like, you are Sudash. I'm like, no. You
Sujit.
are Pavas. I'm like, no. Then you must be Sujit. Only 3 brown guys are there. So that is the level of recall. But this time, there was no confusion. Everyone was like, Sujit, Sujit, Sujit. So when I finished that speech, when I saw the biofeedback, I was like, 8,000, probably 2,500 or 3,000 more. But it even exceeded that. Final tally was around 11,586.
Oh.
So sometimes it's about doing the legwork. When you get your interview calls, whether it's 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, show up. And don't show up just like that. Show up in a suit. Now there's another secret. Underwash Bermuda. Because the suit is only till here, camera is fine. But even at 2 o'clock in the morning, Dubai time, I was in Bermudas and suit with the pin and everything on top. No compromise on that. Whether I was half sleepy or not, do the legwork. Out of 150 districts, 130 districts that time, I had covered 124 by the time we had got to Anaheim. And out of the 124, around 100 plus, I was very sure they recognized me. And second thing is, one of the shameless things I did last year after losing is I wrote back to each and every trio member. You guys also must have got mails that you saw my campaign this year in the Bahamas. Do you have any suggestions for improvement? And you know what happened? Now, advice is free, right? Everybody likes to give it. Out of the 130 districts I wrote to, 126 responded.
Oh.
So that means somewhere in their mind or heart, I was there. Now I was very confident. September 30, I filed the nomination. All I have to do is build that up and show them I have changed. And what I used to do in every interview, at the end of it, I used to say, thank you for giving me this suggestion in the feedback last year. I have made these improvements. So what do you think the people's mind was like? Okay, he is a guy who has listened, he's improved. So he's one of us. Then what was the next thing? I just had to be confident. I had to bring the histrionics and not have panic and tension. Because to be honest, if you feel, I can tell you, I've been a radio broadcaster, I've been a TV presenter, I'm a lecturer by day. I do a lot of speaking, paid, professional and otherwise. And after 20 years, I can still tell you when I first come onto the stage, the first 5-6 seconds, fatti hai, no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
If anybody is telling you otherwise, they are lying or they are not a human being. But if you don't feel that, that means something is wrong. But if you continuously feel that, something is even more wrong. So the first few seconds, feel it.
Absolutely.
The lesson from this, Rajesh, is all of us are in a particular point in our journey at some point in time. One thing is, if you lose, I have seen a lot of leaders, candidates, especially from India or of Indian origin, from Middle East where I am. Once they lose, they take it very personally. They don't come back anymore.
Correct.
Like throw the baby out with the bath water and I will also jump outside. I am not coming into this anymore. But it's your loss because somebody will always be there to take your seat. In the Middle East where I come from, to become an area director, you can ask Usha and all. Somebody had to die or retire or leave the country. Then only you will get a chance. Now India is also becoming like that. You have to die, retire or leave the country, then only you will get a chance to become area director. Now even club level, that competition is going on. So thinking that you leave the battlefield and run away is not going to be a solution. If you really want it, find a way to make it happen. Improve yourself. It is never the process. The day you stop blaming the judges for losing the contest, the day you stop blaming the ILC for a wrong interview, they didn't nominate you, the day you stop blaming the voters, okay, I did everything I could, but they didn't vote for me. That's a wrong approach. That you cannot control. Focus on what you can focus. The locus of focus should be very clear. What can you control? Only work on that. Slowly, the other people will fade off. Because it's not intelligence, Rajesh. Sometimes persistence trumps everything. At the same time, don't be stupid and bang your head against the same wall. Either it's time to get a new head
different result
or a new wall. So one of the two. So that's what I learned. So the greatest experience was changing myself. Today, wherever I go, I make it very open and clear. I have some limitations. Can I get a chair, please? And I've never known anyone who's not.
Understanding this and yes, absolutely.
Can I have a hand? Somebody will give me a hand. Imagine at 40, you can ask a lady or a guy a hand and they will give you a hand without any judgment because of a condition. This is blessedness.
I know. Sujit, I want to talk to you about something that I saw recently after we had a chat, long chat. There is one of his interviews in YouTube where he talks about two things. He mentioned about disability. He has changed that word, disability, into discoverability. And second, he says no opportunity. No opportunity means next opportunity. He's failed so many times and still he's bounced back. This is something that I want to hear from you again, Sujit. This has been very, very inspiring for me too.
See, there is some sort of extreme pleasure in doing some things which people say you cannot do.
I agree.
Okay?
And I don't know, Toastmasters.
I don't know what you think about it, but the fun you get when you stand there and do that, no? And when you're standing silently, no disco dance, nothing, quietly, I have arrived, I have achieved, now burn. That is a great statement. And you know what? Wait for your time. If you run in a running bus, it's not going to reach the bus stand faster. All you have to ensure that you are in the right bus. Otherwise, you will reach wrong destination. Yeah. But you have to board the correct bus and be nice to the conductor and the driver throughout the journey because they are in control. Don't do any funny things. You will reach. So one of the examples I remember is, and this may be useful because we are in a university setting also. I remember in the 11th and 12th, when after we finish that, there is a counseling session where we go to the counselor in the school and our parents ask them what stream is good for my child. And for those of you who don't know, I was severely disabled throughout my school life. I had calipers, somebody had to carry me and put me on a chair, put 2 belts, take me to the bathroom, carrying me literally. So that was how bad it was. So I wasn't given admission into a school in the beginning because those days special education was not a sexy thing. If you are special education means you are alien, don't touch this boy. Like DTM had a different meaning those days, it don't touch me. So similar to that, So for me then, when I went to this counselor and I was anomaly, like I was bright in all the subjects, maths I was little weak. And I had a reputation then also that I won't keep quiet. I was a very outspoken fellow. So not many teachers liked me because I used to spit truth, but not the favorable truth. So they were, you miss and I will hit. That was my relationship with the teachers and vice versa. So when I went to this counselor, his name is Mr. David, he told my mother, ma'am, I don't know why you are still continuing with this relentless pursuit. Like we told you 12 years back when he took admission in the school itself, that is a great thing if he reaches anywhere in terms of academics with his severe physical disability. Now you are intending to put him into hostel or something.
College.
I don't think he will be coping. Why don't you get him into somewhere here itself? Or even more than that, let him do homeschooling or something like that. Why are you having high aspirations for him? And my mother, one thing with mummy is, whatever she feels inside, she's a very respectful person. She's very decent. If today somebody does that with my daughter, I will kill him there itself. No doubt about it. But mummy is like, whatever she feels inside, she will be, okay, thank you, sir. Salute and then come back. And at home, she will make a plan. So I could see, my mother, and it was probably like Milind is sitting first row. Probably I was sitting in an auditorium like this only, like where the cameraman is, the 4th row, I was sitting, and we got called, and he told this, and he dismissed us, like, aapse nahi hone wala hai, you are very incapable fellows, like, don't have high aspirations. So then I came home and I said, Mummy, I don't want to study in Dubai. I want to go to a hostel, and I want to go to India. I want to go to a state where I don't know anybody, totally unknown and everything, and I want to make my name and fame there. Fair enough. All those things happened. I got a good career, started everything, came back, became established in Dubai. Famous, everything. Never forgot this episode, Every day praying to God, give me a chance, I will come back. One day, around 14 years later, somewhere in 2009-10, I get a mail from the principal of the school that
Come to the school.
come to the school, and he clearly doesn't remember who I am. So, dear Mr. Sukumaran, please come to our school. We want you to invite you to the capstone event of the counseling fest.
Oh.
And your lecture is careers of the future and how to equip students of grade 9, 10, 11, 12 for the future. Now, the moment I get that letter, I'm like, Mummy, come. See the screen. So Mummy is like, okay. Mummy is like non-judgmental, chalte hain. The fun fact is, guess the person who is welcoming me onto the stage, giving
Mr.
me
David.
the bouquet and reading my introduction, Mr. David. Who is calling me to deliver the vote of thanks? Mr. David. And what do I say on the vote of thanks? You think I will leave opportunities like this? So what I said is, 14 years ago, just in that same fourth row, and I purposely went and sat Mummy there because the same auditorium. Even the carpets have changed because the Rexin is not cheap, it's very expensive. There are 4,000 seats in that auditorium. So I made Mummy sit exactly because I remember the row, I remember the formation. I said, Mummy, go sit there. So when he called me for the vote of thanks, immediately my face lit up. And Mummy seeing me from there, it's like, Beta, thandrak. Because she knows I'm going to do some masti on the stage now. So I'm like, when life gives you opportunity, like how you can live. So I said, I must do something, but not in my own way. But I will do something, I will snub him also, and I will be decent also. So when I gave the vote of thanks, I said, today all of you are at the cusp of your future journeys, and you might become somebody tomorrow. I want to tell you a small anecdote, like 14 years ago, where my mother is sitting now in the fourth row. I was also subject to a counseling exercise where our great counselor, Mr. David, very polishedly told my mom that I'm not going to account to anything in life. And look at where I am now. So what others' predictions of you are today, whether it's a teacher, whether it's your parent, whoever it may be, you are the people who determine your reality and destiny. Somebody else's dialogue about you need not be your future.
Absolutely.
For me today, as an educator, thinking back to first standard admission, when I got admission in Indian high school, the headmistress was very categorically dismissive, saying to my parents that for these kind of children, we have special schools. And mind you, if I had gone there, I would have become more dumber than I already am, and I would have manufactured calendars and done charity events for the rest of my life. For me, education was something like validation. Probably it's something natural for all of you, but I had to fight for it. Today, when I sit as a senior lecturer, as one of the most distinguished personalities in education in the United Arab Emirates, holding a classroom and the sheikhs or even policy makers in discussions, the fact that I was denied admission into a school, like some people ask me, why are you doing a PhD? I didn't even get admission in KG, forget about it. You know what it feels inside to be a PhD holder from one of India's top institutions where the selection rate is less than 2%.
Wow.
For somebody who was not even allowed inside a school. And this is not for any fault of my own. So coming back to Toastmasters, many times you may feel judged, you may feel insulted, you may feel dismissed by other people. But remember, these people's term and time is only 1 year, maximum. So beyond that, stay alive and stay grounded. So if it is a club leader up till districts, it's only 1 year. If it's an international director also, it's only 2 years. You just have to be alive for 3, you will make it.
This is the never say die spirit. We have known enough about Sujit as a person, and it's been very, very inspiring. And I have always been like, whenever I've seen him, I felt like that. But now move on to your role as international director, Sujit. What are the challenges that Toastmasters International is facing today? And what are the options, or what are the things that they're planning to do for the Toastmasters fraternity in times to come?
I think, Rajesh, there's a very global consensus at the board and the organization level that the times have changed.
Yes.
The environment has changed. Media has changed. The way we consume media has changed. And we are no longer Toastmasters International only in name with majority membership from the West. We have very big markets in the Middle East, in Africa, in India and Southeast Asia, where populations are much younger.
Yes.
And today we have something called the scrolling generation. Within 4 seconds, goldfish memory, their mind shifts. So the thought process is, we are a 100-year-old organization, great. There's a lot of chest beating and pride with that. But the questions we are currently discussing on the board is, what got us the first 100 years is not going to get us the next 100. We don't even know whether it will survive the next 5 with the same approach. Though as members, you may not be feeling the speed at which decisions are being taken, the speed of deliberations is much faster than any of you can imagine, because I can tell you, out of the 19 of us on the board, there is not a single person who doesn't want this organization to be around at least for next 500 years. Okay, there is no
Of course.
corruption in intention at all. Where it is getting stuck is sometimes with the way our organization executes decisions. Because we have to understand there's a staff also back in the office, and they are the people who are actually executing. The things. And it is not easy, because for them, for almost 70 years of their entire lifespan, they've been used to dealing with American audience and a very less volume of transactions and traction. Now suddenly the whole world is going.
Changing.
It's a world of many Englishes, it's a world of many cultures. We are doing what we can. We are very aware of the significant risks, because it's not about only growing as an organization. Sometimes there can be other organizations which can totally eclipse us. Now, if Netflix could kill Blockbuster, why not something else come into us? So we're doing a lot of things. We are trying to attract more young people. We are trying to ensure that the programs are more variant. Discussions have been initiated on these areas. Of course, I can't go into the details because it's not public domain yet. But there is a great level of cognizance at the board, Rajesh.
So we see a lot of things happening in Toastmasters International, and very soon India will also get to see some of those advantages that we wish to see sooner. How do you see this happening in next 5 to 10 years? This is a global long term, but what is that major change that you see in next 5, 10 years for most of the members are going to be impacted
I wouldn't go that far, Rajesh. I am very clear, if we don't change in the next 2 to 3 years, we may not have the next 5 to 10 years. And that's very, very open and honest. From a person who has been a Gavalier, I have probably been married to Toastmasters longer than I've been married to my wife. So this is all I know. Like Sachin said, मैं cricket के अलावा कुछ जानता नहीं हूँ. Same way, for me, this is most of what I know. So it's an organization which is very close to my heart. And more than the numbers and everything, if we don't put the member at the forefront of whatever their delight is. Granted, we are like a pizza shop. They will come and eat the pizza and go. You cannot expect them to clean the plates and do other things. Service and leadership is a totally different thing. That only self-motivated people do. But my challenge to all of you, right from the last row to the first row, try to come at some level of leadership. At the minimum, open challenge is all of you do area director once in your life. That is the last university you need. Anything above that is building on the core competencies. If you have been a solid area director, becoming international president also is not a big deal for you. That I can tell you, because my baptism by fire, Rajesh, was as an area director. Just so you know, if you are thinking, the olden days were easy, in the first 60 days of my tenure as an area director, I chartered a division worth of clubs. And till today, you can call up TI also and ask, my record stands, HSBC Toastmasters, 350 members enrolled in one club at one shot. My dicky of my car was filled with 8 boxes of forms. And 2 scanners had to be broken because we were scanning day in and day out. My house was like a DTP center, literally. But club development happens. The magic is still there. If any of you have any queries how to make it happen, I'm a newcomer to Pune. It's my first time. I don't know much about your geography and topography, but the principles of growth are the same everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one thing is, great districts never forget their old leaders, because they've been there, done that at some point of time. Granted, certain leaders have personality issues, but remove the virulent tendencies from them, keep only the good. Because everybody has some good. Baki sab antivirus maar lo, take what is good for you. And then make those leaders compete within themselves. Then you see where you will reach. Because leverage on the shoulders of those who have stood in the sunlight before you, you will get some shade. But if you try to take all the headache on your head, you will die very fast. Don't do that. So if you want to be a successful district, one thing I've been telling all the districts I've been going to, how many districts around the world have a past district directors and a past DTM's conclave? Not simply assembling in fancy restaurants and having dinner, putting them to work. Because once you are a leader, you know, it's like Citibank says, no, city never sleeps. Leader never sleeps. Once you are a leader, you don't deserve to sleep anymore. You can sleep when you are a communicator. Come do your speeches, go home, that's it. Come do your contest, win the prize, go home, that's it. You are a leader, it's like you have served up for the service of the nation. You are permanently, you know, enlisted. Whenever position. Emergency is there, you are on call. So, respect your past, you will have a wonderful future.
So good a message. Here is something that I want to ask you guys. Raise your hands for the request that he has made. How many of you wish to become an area director in next 2 years? Let's say next 2 years. Why are the hands not raised more?
Okay, word of caution, all of you who raised your hands. Leadership is also something like everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Okay? So now re-examine whether those hands are still in the same this one or not. So welcome to heaven, everybody.
Very, very nice. I'm enjoying this session, Sujit, with you. I'm sure the audience is too. One very serious question that comes to my mind now is, Toastmasters International has some way of measuring success? Yeah. If so, what are those? How do you rate this currently? Are we getting better than earlier days, years, and decades? What is it now? How do they measure success, and what do we get from there?
Well, in terms of raw numbers, very honestly, everybody knows, after pandemic, there has been a steady decline. But I don't think that is mostly because of the pandemic, because that is 5 years old. Now you cannot blame the pandemic anymore. I, for one, personally, in personal capacity and as an international director, firmly believe that the magic happens in the club. If your club structure is weak, if the members are not getting the magical experience at the club, whatever the vibe of that club may be, then your district will never succeed. It will be a numerically large organization, but never a self-sustaining, fulfilled organization. But if you have 1/3 of your entire strength of your district as superstar clubs, I will come back here 25 years later, you will still be a Smedley Distinguished District. Ask yourself, out of the 140, 130 clubs that you have, how many are superstar clubs? By superstar clubs, I mean 5 years of existence minimum. 3 out of those 5 years, at least Presidents Distinguished and above. Consistent track record of leaders being generated from that club beyond the club and division and area. And one I'm not trying to boost revenue for the organization, but one request I have is every year try to pool some funds, get 5 or 10 people to go to the international convention to support the winner from your district 125. Because you take those 5 or 10 people, their brain will expand and explode to such a level that they will never want to be small people again. They will want to be leaders, they will want to be in the service of different things, just because they've seen and experienced that. Many years we have gone to conventions just like that, without having any position. Once we saw that, we are like, okay, we can also dream to become this someday. The dream of becoming an international director or an RA was by that. When I went to my first convention in Kuala Lumpur, 2014, as a LGET, and that was the main motivation. You get a US visa and you can go and all that. Those days, that was the main thing. But after going there, I was like, wow, even we can become something like this. Until you go there, you will not know what your potential is. That's why I said, become an area director. Tomorrow you can become a Milind or a Sushil or a Colonel or somebody like that. Once you step up and you stand up and you go forward, you will realize how much less competition is there. Because if you aim for that top 2% of excellence, where you slog a little more harder than everyone else, slowly people will get tired, man. They will give up. Only you will be remaining. So don't worry.
Very, very inspiring. I wish I would have continued. There are so many things that I want to ask you, but now I leave it to the audience. But before that, I ask, what feeling that I get from talking, from hearing you speak, Sujit, is, हिंदी में बोलता हूँ मैं, जिसके मन का भाव अच्छा, जिसके मन का भाव सच्चा, उसका हर काम अच्छा. And that is what, Sujit, you say that in your conversation that we have had. A big round of applause for Sujit for doing that. We have 10 minutes. Let us have one or two questions from the audience, if there are any. Can we pass on the mic, please, to Mukta here?
Thank you so much. Sujit, good morning to you.
Morning, Mukta.
My question to you is, most of the audience will not possibly know that in the Middle East, we elect our area directors, whereas in India, they are selected and nominated. So could you tell us what reason there is for electing them, and is it better than selecting?
Well, the selection and election are totally a district's prerogative. It's totally a district decision what they want to do with it. But personally, I believe when you are elected, you earn it.
Yeah.
That's why there's an E in front of it, no? So you earn it. You hard work for that. When there is a selection, there is always some kind of a favoritism argument if you are on the losing side. So that's why India is a democracy, right? Why do you need elected leaders? Otherwise, somebody will keep on becoming somebody, then what's the point? I would personally, and I don't mean to stir controversy within 125, but if you really want to grow as a district, remove the selection, bring the election. Because then they will stand up, show up, speak up, and want the position. But having said that, now certain districts around the world, it is so rare you have to find leaders like you are going to catch frog with Petromax lamp. Like more seats are there, people are not there to fill. So you go behind them, leader, 1 second, please. Yeah. Like I said, no, in our time, somebody had to die, retire, or leave the country. Then only you will become leader. Now I'm like, I wish I was born now. It would have been easier. But I wouldn't have been as strong as I am today if I had been selected. Yes, that's the point. I am proud to say I have stood, failed, and then got elected. I have earned my position. Yeah. So there's a lot of strength which comes with that. There's a difference between being a recommendation candidate and being a merit candidate. No, so that's what it is.
Very nice. Is there any other question? Yes, please.
Yeah. I resonated very well with you, Sujit, when you said that we should have more people joining convention. The question is, when is convention coming to Southeast Asia? Because that is more accessible to a large number of audience which is here, right? It takes 15,000 rupees to go to Singapore versus 1.5 lakh to go to the US.
So you will be very happy to know that it is going to come very soon. But how soon, I cannot tell you. But one thing we have successfully managed to do is the next few years, we have managed to shift it outside of USA.
Yeah. Malaysia was one that I remember many years ago.
So now what they are thinking is, suppose if they shift the convention outside somewhere, and suppose we are able to make a profitable convention, because conventions have always been very expensive loss-making events, including the Bahamas was a big bleed. If they are able to, get some disbursements or some kind of rebates from the government, which I can tell you for sure, if they do come to UAE sometime,
it can happen.
It can happen. We can make it happen.
For sure.
But the thing is, for them, the way they see it, the organization for us, now I'm also part of TI, is that to logistically move the bulk of the attendees who are from the 9 regions in the US to other parts of the world, including contestants and all that, is logistically and economically a very big expense. Debates have happened on the board, and we are now successfully pushing for a model. You test it 2-3 years somewhere outside.
Correct.
If you feel you can make money, if it's sustainable, I think it will come in another 3, 4, 5 years. There will be even broader representation on the board. If very interestingly, you will see, go through the candidates list this year on the website. Many districts in North America have Indian candidates or Indian origin candidates. Right now, our international president is also an Indian origin person. I foresee a time where, you might have all the people from India and China, because we are voluminously numerous. And who knows, then we are like, okay, let's have it in my hometown, That can happen, but the people who can make that happen is you people. Because we need representation, which is why I said, become an area director, fill in the seats, have the majority, then magic can happen. Numbers make things happen, and members make the numbers. So don't forget that.
One last question, thank you. One last question, please.
Good morning, Sujit.
Morning, Mike.
Yes. with the advent of artificial intelligence, how is board thinking or strategizing for the upcoming 5 years? Because all the organizations worldwide are feeling the intensity for the same. And for Toastmasters, if there is some initiative.
I don't think it's as big a monster or an elephant in the room as we make it out to be. Because one of Toastmasters' superpowers for the last 100 years has been the magic of human connection.
Absolutely.
Even if you train a chatbot, or like in Japan, one guy got married to a robot and he's spending time with her and all. I don't know what he's doing, but even if you do something like that, you will become weirder. That's a different story, because a robot can graduate version 1.2, 2.2. What will happen to you? Nothing will happen. But the beauty of Toastmasters has been in the magic of human connection. When I stand up, show up, speak up, and be there. And we used to have a joke that in some of our clubs in the Middle East, some people don't come for the projects, some people come for some other people. I will leave it to your imagination. But that's what it's about. Sometimes we just show up. Like I remember when I began, Mayank, people used to drive from UAE to Oman, which is where Milind was, 6 hours, 7 hours, because we were not so rich to take flights. And we used to book a big Land Cruiser, have a picnic and all, just because our club contestant was there. So that you cannot, what will you do with AI? You will bring ChatGPT with you in the car, then what happens? Nothing happens. The kind of things like when your club member makes breakfast for you and brings it in a casserole because you are going on a long trip and you need to be hydrated and fed. These are human connections. I'm not saying Toastmaster about roti kapda makan. That's not what I'm trying to say. But AI can never replace human intelligence until another 10 years when we get AGI, artificial general intelligence, because I do work in this area, I know. But even if it does replicate near to near human intelligence, it cannot replicate human touch. It cannot replace a hug. It cannot replace a shake hand. It cannot replace an encouraging word. It cannot replace non-communicative body language. When you are feeling down, somebody comes and gives you a pat, and without saying anything, he says, "No, that I know how you are feeling inside." That AI cannot do. And as long as that is alive, Toastmasters will continue to thrive, whether AI or not.
Excellent. Very nice. This, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of a lively, very delightful, dignified, and dazzling display of the mindset, the witty performance that you saw from Sujit. Sujit, thank you very much for your time, for coming here and gracing us and attending Crescendo 125. Your last 1-2 words that you wish to share, and then we close. Thank you, Sujit.
So for all of you who are aspiring to become something both in life and Toastmasters, understand one thing. Today, the most expensive thing you can give to anybody is the gift of your time. My father used to always tell me, like, today we must have spent 40 minutes into probably 300 people in the audience. If we made sense, that's 12,000 minutes of transformation. If we wasted your time, which I think not, because otherwise you would not have, on a morning like this, you wouldn't have cheered, you wouldn't have clapped. Because biofeedback is the most sincere form of appreciation. Applause is one thing, but when you get a standing ovation or something like that, not for the position, but for the message that you gave, that can only come from a pure heart. Today's day and age, you ask anybody to say anything negative about you, that is for free. But you give people money also and you say, "You come and clap for me in some place," they won't come.
They won't.
But if some people are coming and clapping and appreciating despite the fact that they don't even know you from before, they can be only people of one group, that is blood group T, that is Toastmasters. I don't know half of you from before. So I don't know half of you from before, but if you were here today and you are there for me and for Rajesh, I think that's what makes us us. Thank you for being what you are.